Imagine beating the hardest game in the world, the Tower of God. 999 brutal floors, conquered by one man, Subai, the undisputed gaming god. But the moment he claims victory, he drops dead. Game over, right? Wrong. Subai wakes up inside the tower itself. Not a game, not a simulation. The real thing. A place crawling with monsters, dungeons, rival players, and treasures beyond imagination. The twist? In this world, no one has ever made it past floor 989. And Subai? He's been reset to level 1, but he's not starting empty-handed. In his grasp is the Watch of All Things, an artifact so broken it can turn rusty daggers into god-slaying weapons. With it, Subai rewrites the rules, humiliating nobles, soloing bosses meant for entire guilds, and breaking records that clans guarded for generations. From the very first floor, he's not just climbing, he's dominating. Every boss, every rival, every obstacle crumbles before him. The question isn't if he'll reach the top, it's who can possibly stop him this time. The tale opens at a bustling Tower of God tournament, where one determined competitor faces off against the ultimate challenge, the final boss. A large group of onlookers admired, renowned as the gaming god, as he battled the monster, leaving everyone amazed by his incredible abilities. The young man concentrated intensely, his hands darting rapidly over the keyboard and mouse with astonishing speed. Tension filled the air among those nearby, as they noticed the enemy's health bar had dwindled down to a mere 10%. On the glowing computer monitor, his in-game avatar expertly avoided incoming strikes, all while unleashing powerful blows against the monstrous opponent. The character's digital alter ego itself to strike the massive beast with a decisive attack. The boss, towering over his opponent, begins to taunt the player, questioning whether the challenger truly believes victory is possible. In response, his character boldly declares that he would not hesitate to overcome any obstacle, even if it meant defying the gods themselves. The warrior unleashes one last, mighty blow, causing a brilliant flash that illuminates every corner of the screen. A notification appeared, celebrating his achievement of reaching the top of the tower's 999th floor. The crowd erupted with excitement as they witnessed someone finally conquer the final level of the game. The young man rose to his feet in triumph, his excitement clear as he basked in the glory of being the first and only person to claim the top spot in the Tower of God. Without warning, a dramatic shift crosses his face as a jolt of intense pain appears to seize him. Immediately afterward, the young man lost consciousness and collapsed backward, appearing as though he had suddenly fainted. His friends hurried over, confusion and urgency written across their faces as they tried to make sense of the sudden event. As the computer screen suddenly broke apart without warning, a voice urgently demanded that an ambulance be called. Word quickly traveled throughout the community, leaving everyone stunned by the sudden death of the legendary gaming champion, who passed away just after achieving a major triumph. His awareness drifts away from his physical form, and curiosity about what lies at the tower's highest level fills his thoughts. In another location, a woman recounts how the Tower of God appeared on Earth a decade earlier, bringing about a dramatic transformation to the world. She went on to explain that, while the tower introduced many threats, it also offered new chances and an endless supply of resources. With the aid of the tower's resources, humanity advanced at an extraordinary pace, achieving a decade's worth of progress in only 10 years. The teacher turned to the students and checked if everyone felt prepared to begin their journey into the Tower of God. Without warning, the protagonist brought his hand down hard on the desk, declaring with conviction that he was fully prepared for the challenge ahead. Still disoriented, he tries to make sense of his surroundings, recalling that his final memory was of his sudden death. A student mocked a peer's desire for a rare crystal, as quietly observed their discussion about the Tower of God. The atmosphere buzzed with excitement as each person eagerly anticipated stepping into the tower, already certain about the class they intended to select. In this country, the entrance rules were extremely tough. Only those who had reached the age of 18 and had intense training were allowed to join. The young man suddenly understands that everything happening around him mirrors the game he once played before his disappearance. He realizes he has been reborn into a reality where the tower truly exists, yet in this world, only 989 floors have been overcome. The boy's excitement soared at the thought of conquering the game, believing that victory would render him unstoppable in this world. The instructor raised their voice, commanding the class to quiet down and take their seats. She alerted the group that they should prepare themselves because their teleportation crystals would be given to them soon. A blue crystal materialized on the student's desk, and the woman clarified that it had to be crushed. At last, she offered her best wishes to the students, sensing their nervous excitement as they prepared to begin their journey. Grasped his crystal firmly, determination shining in his eyes as he silently vowed that, on this attempt, he would ascend to the summit and overcome every flaw in his path. The young man, acting on instinct, tightened his grip, and using all his strength, smashed the enchanted artifact to pieces. A notification from the system appears, catching his attention and making him question whether his previous account might function in this new world. Despite his attempts, he cannot log in, and his previous information starts disappearing, causing panic to rise within him. His progress vanished, and he found himself back in the familiar starting village, a location he recognized from past experiences. Out of nowhere, a new message appeared on his screen, sparking his curiosity about the sender's identity. The announcement revealed that the prize for reaching floor 999 was the watch of all things. The object in question was an extraordinary artifact, unmatched in rarity, and it served the unique purpose of enhancing other pieces of equipment. The watch possessed the power to enhance anything flawlessly, though it always demanded a modest cost in return. Uncertain about which upgrades were available, the newcomer chose to wander through the city before making any decisions. As he gazed at the familiar tavern, a sense of nostalgia washed over him, just as the system declared that his nation had successfully passed through the beginner's zone. Within the lively tavern, the crowd erupted in joyous celebration, thrilled by the nation's triumph and the rewarding 10% increase to their stats. Quickly understands that the extra reward comes from the artifact's power, and he knows it will be a great advantage for him. The system displays a notification indicating that the watch has identified some equipment eligible for an upgrade. The young man feels astonished to discover that even his basic, low-quality equipment has the potential for enhancement. The display indicated that the upgrade was guaranteed to succeed, showing a full 100% probability. This ability allows him to transform his basic equipment into powerful, legendary artifacts. When he attempts to upgrade, a notification pops up informing him that he lacks the necessary coins. The young man chooses to prioritize earning money, understanding that wealth holds the greatest importance in the tower's world. Beyond the walls, a colossal tower stretches skyward, seeming to pierce the clouds and reach for the heavens. New players were given a grace period of 7 days to switch their classes. If they failed to do so, they would be removed from the group. Many people desperately pleaded for class change crystals, yet most were unable to obtain them before it was too late. Inside the tavern, approached the owner and mentioned that he had brought along some cocktail recipes to share with her. The woman's curiosity grows as she wonders about the types of recipes he might present. He brought up the idea of drinking wine made from the blood of a rare beast, leaving her to wonder if he was being serious or just making a joke. She warned him with a stern look, but he calmly explained that the recipes were genuine, then simply requested something to write with. He proceeded to write the recipe on a piece of paper, informing everyone that each one would cost 5 gold coins, and assuring them there were no hidden fees. The owner reluctantly accepted the offer to pay, but warned that there would be consequences if he was being deceived. In response, the other man confidently assured him that he was telling the truth. Just 5 minutes later, the woman finds herself amazed by the red wine she has crafted. The patrons inside the tavern began competing with one another, each offering more money than the last in hopes of purchasing the drink. Despite the commotion, the owner quieted the crowd and firmly claimed the glass as her own, making it clear that she would not let anyone else have it. Without pausing, she swiftly finishes the entire glass, savoring each sip of the unique beverage. The young man turned to the lady and inquired about her opinion on how the wine tasted. Feeling completely satisfied, she licked her lips and looked at him with curiosity, eager to know how many recipes he possessed, since she wanted to have every single one. The main character flashed a cunning grin, satisfied that his scheme to earn some cash had succeeded. He claims to possess 5 recipes, and offers to sell the entire collection to her at the discounted price of 20 gold. The elf passed a bag of money to him, bringing a smile to his face as he realized he now had enough to improve his watch. As an added gesture, she presented him with a high-quality dagger, leaving the boy astonished and grateful for her unexpected generosity. The dagger was crafted with remarkable skill and could be wielded by anyone, regardless of their level. The young man expressed his gratitude to the woman before taking his leave, and the woman mentioned her eagerness to try out any new recipes he might share in the future. He assures her that she can rely on him, emphasizing the strong bond of friendship they have built over time. As he walked out, the tavern owner observed him and thought of him as a charming and silver-tongued youth. After stepping outdoors, realizes he must act quickly and heads off to enhance his recently acquired weapon. The upgrade display indicated that spending silver would accelerate the process, resulting in a 10-point boost to the attributes. He believes the cost is high, yet considers it a valuable investment for growth while the protection period lasts. Without wasting any more time, the young man sets out to enhance his dagger. Upgrading required 720 silver and boosted every one of his attributes by 10 points. The boy felt an overwhelming sense of confidence, believing that with his current statistics, overcoming the first floor of the tower would be effortless. Without hesitating further, he dashes forward, eager to set out on the true path of his adventure. Within the beginner zone, numerous players could be seen battling one another, each determined to defeat monsters first in hopes of gaining experience and increasing their levels. 3 adventurers got ready to strike at a white rabbit, which appeared innocent at first glance. Without warning, arrived on the scene, expressing curiosity about why everyone had gathered around an adorable, small creature. He turned away and walked off, remarking that defeating rabbits wouldn't earn him any experience or money. An adventurer urgently shouted a warning, trying to stop him from heading toward the perilous area ahead. Unsure of the conversation's meaning, the protagonist comes to a halt and glances back, confusion evident in their expression. As he stepped into the forest, a massive creature emerged from between the trees, standing directly in his path. Without warning, a wind serpent of the lowest level materialized and hurled itself at the hero, unleashing its full strength in the attack. The bespectacled boy grew anxious, urgently warning Sube to watch out and return to safety right away. The young man remains unfazed, confidently asserting through his actions and demeanor that such a feeble creature poses no threat to him whatsoever. He lunged forward quickly, driving his dagger into the serpent and inflicting serious harm. The rest of the players stared in disbelief, stunned that he had managed to overcome the creature. The monster lay defeated on the ground, and the protagonists thought to themselves that defeating it had been surprisingly easy. The group moved closer to caution him, explaining that the serpent's powerful strike might have been deadly. In response, shows gratitude by flipping a copper coin toward them. He expressed his gratitude for the warning and advised them to stay safe as well, then resumed his journey by himself. The boy wearing glasses accuses him of being out of his mind, while another person doubts he can survive for even 5 minutes. Beyond the boundaries of the safe zone, the hero observes a noticeable decrease in the number of players, making it much simpler for him to hunt. A second serpent slithered into view, but he stood ready to confront it, showing no sign of fear despite the looming threat. The young man smoothly avoids the attack and confidently grips the sharp edge of his own dagger with his hand. He struck back with remarkable accuracy, taking down the monster in a single, decisive move. As the creature crumbled into dust, it left behind a single copper coin on the ground. The protagonist bent down and retrieved the coin, claiming it as their own. He comes to the conclusion that his current pace of leveling up is far too slow, and understands that he must defeat more monsters at a much faster rate. Without warning, multiple snakes slithered into view all at once, yet he remained unfazed by how many surrounded him. A cheerful expression spread across his face as he rushed toward the creatures, swiftly overcoming every one of them with little effort. He swiftly eliminated all the monsters in the area, yet he found himself grumbling about how rarely valuable items appeared after each battle. A notification appeared, declaring that the Tower of God's 10th season was now. While scanning the latest headlines, he realizes the urgency to increase his abilities more quickly in order to seize the opportunity. Armed with his sacred artifact, felt certain that he would claim the prizes before anyone else had a chance. The players gathered together, quietly discussing which one of them might claim the first kill of the upcoming season. People guessed that the next person would likely come from an affluent background, and they specifically brought up the family's daughter as a possibility. A girl with pink hair strolled by, surrounded by powerful bodyguards and dressed in rare, top-tier equipment. The group eventually abandons the idea of entering the competition, choosing instead to resume hunting rabbits so they can steer clear of any problems. At the same time, stayed focused on defeating monsters in the forest, unconcerned by anything beyond his current task. He remained determined to achieve his objective, refusing to allow anyone to interfere with his plans. Without warning, a blue glow enveloped him, signaling his progression to level 2 and granting him additional stat points. The boy felt a surge of excitement, not only because he had gained a new level, but also because he had received a black iron chest as an additional prize. As the ranking system unfolded before him, he was taken aback by how many players had already reached level 2. He thought that the hours he devoted to observing his watch were the reason he was no longer ahead. Driven by curiosity, he calls forth the chest, eager to discover its contents and the treasures it might hold for him. When he opened the chest, he discovered a simple set of cloth armor along with 30 copper coins inside. The watch prompts him to choose which piece of equipment he would like to enhance using its unique ability. After a moment of consideration, the young man chooses to enhance the weapon, reasoning that the local boss lacks significant offensive strength. The system himmed that the dagger could be improved up to 8 times, and he decided to proceed. He tapped the screen, initiating the upgrade process for his equipment. The initial upgrade required just 50 copper coins, making it an affordable starting point. The enhancement process finishes without any issues, and he discovers the upgraded dagger, now labeled as +1, added to his inventory. He made up his mind to enhance the dagger to its highest level, prompting the system to determine how much it would cost in total. The procedure required payment of 9 silver and 65 copper, and he agreed to go ahead with it. A radiant golden glow surrounded him, instantly enhancing his dagger to a powerful +8 level. The dagger possessed greatly enhanced physical and magical power, and it also boosted the wielder's speed when attacking. He notices that the initial upgrade boosts the basic stats, while the subsequent upgrades enhance the strength of attacks. Armed with his newly acquired weapon, he experimented with several techniques, feeling genuinely pleased by how effective the results turned out to be. The combined attack strength approached 100 points, making it comparable to the power of an ordinary rare weapon. Clutching the dagger tightly, sprinted forward, his resolve unwavering as he prepared to confront the leader of the beginner's zone. On the first day, the boss appeared just 10 times, which made everyone compete intensely to defeat it. The protagonist reached a rugged, stony landscape, feeling confident that this was the destination he had been searching for. Without warning, he notices the clamor of a fight erupting close by and immediately sharpens his awareness to the commotion. The young man notices that another person has already arrived and quickly sprints forward, driven by his desire to claim the first kill for himself. As he approached, he noticed several players locked in a fierce battle with a swarm of goblins. Concealed from view, he watched the fight unfold, quietly admiring the impressive gear the fighters carried. Identified the girl as from the family, noticing that her impressive collection of weapons made his own dagger seem insignificant by comparison. The girl with pink hair took charge of her team, instructing everyone to come together and reminding them to heal themselves with potions. The warriors, acting on her command, rushed fearlessly toward the monsters, unleashing all their strength in a relentless attack. Her companion remarks that, if they keep going like this, they will arrive at the tower's first floor before long. Despite her caution, she advised him to remember that the other families could be close on their trail and should not be underestimated. Without warning, her eyes move, and she appears to become aware that someone is observing them from afar. The leader spun around abruptly, raising their voice to demand the identity of whoever might be concealed nearby. Emerged from his concealed location, prompting the blonde-haired boy to demand to know which team was a part of. The protagonist explains that he is by himself and urges the others to keep battling, mentioning that he is merely traveling through the area. The girl eyed him with suspicion, clearly doubting that he could have arrived on his own in such a short amount of time. Choosing to overlook her doubt, he simply offers them well wishes before bidding farewell and moving along his path. The haired young man suspects that he plans to take advantage of the chaos with the monsters to claim the boss for himself. Without hesitation, commands her troops to cease using potions and launch a full-force assault against him. She wore a resolute expression, silently vowing to protect her claim to her very first victory. The soldiers redirected their attention and charged at the young man, determined to block his path and prevent him from moving forward. The young man felt irritation rising within him, puzzled about why he was being pulled into their argument. The blonde-haired young man let out a mocking laugh, clearly amused that a mere level 2 beginner had the audacity to stand up to their group. He commanded his soldiers to eliminate the trespasser, while the protagonist braced for the impending battle. Without warning, an arrow shot toward the hero, prompting them to quickly shift into a protective stance. Despite the sudden attack, he reacts quickly, skillfully redirecting the flying objects with his dagger. The girl with pink hair stared in disbelief, caught off guard by his unexpected ability to defend himself against her strike. Immediately following this, 2 warriors rushed ahead, their voices raised as they demanded the swift defeat of their adversary. The young man flashed a self-assured grin, his eyes challenging his opponents as he wondered aloud whether they truly believed they stood a chance against him. With swift agility, he vaulted over the guards, twirling his weapon skillfully to fend off their attacks. The soldiers take a direct hit, their voices rising in agony as the force of the attack crashes into them. The haired friend stood in stunned silence before exclaiming in disbelief that such a thing could never happen. Within moments, the newcomer overpowered multiple guards, forcing one of them to urgently signal the others to fall back. At that point, Sue remarks that their strength is lacking, and they stand no chance of overcoming him. He moves forward once more, delivering a series of powerful blows to the remaining opponents. As additional guards fell to the ground, the man grew anxious and quickly commanded his soldiers to fall back. The man issued a threat to the protagonist, demanding to know if the protagonist understood the consequences of crossing him. The young man showed no concern, and made it clear through his actions that anyone daring to challenge him would not escape the confrontation without injury. Finds himself at a loss for words, his eyes blazing with fury as he fixes his opponent with an intense, angry stare. The leader of the group grew frustrated with her companion, and sharply demanded that he be quiet immediately. The young man, caught off guard by her response, spun around and addressed her as Miss, clearly confused by the situation. The girl paid no attention to her guard and walked over to Sue Bei, suggesting that they come to an agreement. Sue showed curiosity about the proposal and prompted her to provide an explanation about its details. Comes to the understanding that he is far from an average player, possessing remarkable abilities that set him apart from others. She proposes that they spend more time together to become better acquainted, and she inquires about the amount it would take for him to let go of their recent argument. The haired young man grew frustrated, insisting that there was no point in wasting time on someone who preferred to play alone. The main character pays no attention to the ongoing dispute, and instead suggests that everyone pay a silver coin each for protection. His temper flared, and he declared with disbelief that there was no chance they would ever hand over any payment. The young man explained that this was the cost required to ensure their survival. Meanwhile, the girl quickly urged her companion to remain silent. She nodded in agreement, flipping 3 gold coins his way, and requested to add him to her list of friends. Demanded an additional gold coin before agreeing to the request, and she handed over the money without uttering a single complaint. The leader of the group suggests that everyone should join forces to defeat the boss together, and claim the honor of the first victory. The young man comes to understand that defeating the beginner zone's boss before anyone else holds great significance for the group. He agreed to the offer, but insisted on adding a single requirement. Curious, the girl prompted him to explain what his condition would be. Proceeded to explain his terms, expressing that he required complete authority over the team while they pursued the boss. The young man objected, insisting that everyone present belonged to the family's elite and refused to accept leadership from him. The protagonist explains that defeating the boss will require everyone to obey his commands without hesitation. The girl with pink hair does not grant him complete authority, yet she permits him to act without restriction. The young man rejected their alternative offer and bid them farewell, assuring them that this would be the last time they saw him. In a moment of desperation, tried to persuade him to change his mind by offering a reward of 100 gold coins. He responds that the prize for the first kill holds far greater value, then walks away without glancing behind him. The leader admitted that even she was unsure of winning, and she wondered aloud how he could possibly feel confident about their chances. The young man takes a seat on a nearby rock, pausing to catch his breath and unwind before moving on. Using the funds he earned, he makes the decision to replace his cloth armor with something better. The upgrade required silver if he wanted to accelerate the process or bypass the waiting period, allowing him to select the most suitable choice. Eager to avoid any delay, he selects the second option so he can complete the process right away. His power, quickness, physical build, and determination all saw significant improvement. Now that his health exceeds 300, his confidence grows as he prepares to confront the final boss. Inside the tavern, the players observed the new recruits of the year, noting how energetic and full of potential they seemed. The owner of the bar quietly considers whether the kingdom might achieve their first victory this year. The customers expressed their disappointment, recalling how a newcomer of the highest SSS rank had surpassed them the previous year. At the same time, the protagonist makes his way up a rugged mountainside, determined to arrive at his journey's end. He landed without injury, realizing he had to move quickly if he wanted to claim the first kill. As he stepped into the cave, he was startled to discover evidence that another person had reached the place ahead of him. The young man caught a peculiar scent drifting through the air, and quickly recognized it as the odor of concealment powder. The powder served to mask the user's smell, making them undetectable to ordinary lesser monsters. He finds himself amazed at the immense fortune possessed by the item's owner, recognizing that it must be valued at millions. He enters and notices a team of players battling multiple goblins, all under the watchful gaze of the boss. Feels a wave of relief knowing the boss remains calm, so he advances toward the fight. One of the team members noticed the boy and wondered aloud if they ought to intervene, but the captain dismissed the concern, insisting it wasn't necessary. Stood as the chosen successor of a powerful family, one of the top 3 ruling houses in the eastern region. Standing next to him, from the Lee family taunts him, mocking his desire for something that rightfully belongs to them. The onlookers watched in disbelief as he prepared to challenge the boss, unable to hide their astonishment. Charged at the Goblin King with unwavering courage, striking the towering creature squarely on its massive foot. The creature let out a thunderous roar, writhing in both agony and rage when it realized a dagger was lodged deep in its chest. The young man bravely turned to confront the powerful enemy, deliberately challenging it and stirring its fierce anger. The rest of the team turned to their leader, seeking guidance about whether they ought to claim the final blow for themselves. Insists that he poses no danger and confidently predicts that the boss will overcome him with ease in just a few moves. The Goblin King swung its enormous club, launching an attack while expressing surprise that it had to face him once more. The monster let out an earth-shaking roar, baring its razor-sharp fangs before lunging forward with all its strength. The protagonist taunted the enemy, urging it to remain silent and face its defeat without protest. Moving with incredible speed, he activated his flash step ability and launched an attack directly at the giant's leg. The young man glided swiftly along the floor, gripping his dagger tightly as he prepared to strike again from a new angle. He braces himself, anticipating the creature's powerful strike and getting ready to evade it. The Goblin King's strike failed to land, allowing the young man to mock its sluggish movements before launching a swift counterattack. With careful aim, he strikes the monster squarely in the chest, inflicting significant harm with a single, well-placed attack. Recalls that the Goblin King's vulnerabilities include its chest, lower back, and eyes. The other players watched in disbelief as he skillfully avoided multiple strikes from the boss. Can hardly believe how effortlessly he avoids every attack and manages to strike back with such precision, landing one crucial blow after another. She observes that the kiting technique remains a challenge even for experienced professional players. One of the men wondered aloud what their next move should be, questioning whether they ought to deal with the intruder immediately. Advises the group to slow down, explaining that he cannot overcome the boss so swiftly. He intends to hold back until the young man is on the verge of losing his balance, choosing that exact instant to make his move. Sube pressed on with determination, confidently believing that overcoming the Goblin King would be no more difficult than preparing a simple meal. The creature bellowed in an unfamiliar tongue, then triggered an ability that sent a surge of energy crashing outward. The main character quickly leaped aside to avoid the attack, then struck the opponent's side with another powerful blow. The creature let out piercing screams, its voice filled with both pain and anger over its repeated failure to land a blow on its adversary. A blinding glow bursts forth from the Goblin King's chest, signaling that it is charging up for an incredibly strong strike. The young man speculates that the monster might be summoning allies to support it in the fight. Without warning, multiple goblins burst from beneath the earth, quickly encircling the players as they watched in shock. As they neared the point of clearing the area, desperation took hold of them and trouble quickly followed. The girl with white hair notices that the boss has called in a group of guards to defend itself. Commanded his team to shift into an attack formation, directing them to push through and shatter the enemy's surrounding line. The players themselves for battle, bracing against the waves of monsters that began to swarm around them. The archer hesitates, uncertain of the next move, and silently holds the intruder responsible for the relentless arrival of more guards. The leader demanded everyone's attention, urging the group to concentrate and use all their strength to open a way forward for him. His friends worked together to open a way forward, allowing him to move ahead and battle the monsters. They express confidence in their ability to maintain the front line and offer their support to him during the battle. Remains confident that there is enough time left, trusting that his scroll will secure their triumph. Notices the group's intention to wait until the final moment so they can swoop in and claim the boss's defeat for themselves. He noticed the leader holding a mid-tier magic scroll and decided to confront him, daring the leader to test his fortune. The man unrolls his scroll and readies himself to unleash a formidable spell aimed at the young man. A blazing sphere hurtled toward the protagonist, its path marked by both deadly accuracy and overwhelming power. The burst of magic transformed into a massive sphere of flames, sending thick smoke billowing across the area and leaving chaos in its wake. The group rejoiced in their triumph, and among them one member openly confessed his affection toward the white-haired archer. The leader starts to sense that something is amiss because the usual system notification has yet to show up. Without warning, an announcement echoed through the area, revealing that the player Bay had managed to defeat the Goblin King. The entire group stared in disbelief, astonished that he had single-handedly defeated the boss. The young man suddenly emerged atop the monster's back, prompting to call out his name angrily. The hero found himself bewildered, unable to comprehend how he had managed to overcome the boss with only one strike. Revealed that he had taken advantage of the Goblin King's vulnerability to defeat it when its health dropped to the final 5%. He explains that he had been waiting patiently for the leader to activate his scroll before stepping in to finish the fight. The protagonist explained his intention to humble the conceited nobles, and then took his leave from them. Inside the bustling tavern, whispers of recent news quickly circulated among the patrons, sparking curiosity about the enigmatic figure known as. The bar owner noted with surprise that, For the first time, the boss kill had not been claimed by any of the three major families. A number of players refused to believe that the person in question could be the Supai they are familiar with. And her friends heard the news as well, and none of them could believe it. The leader signaled the group to hurry and reach the meeting point as quickly as possible. Called out the protagonist's name, his voice filled with anger and resentment after realizing he had been deceived. His team looked to him for guidance, so he instructed them to take a break and get ready for the upcoming boss battle. A swirling portal materialized before their eyes, and his team emerged from its shimmering depths. The girl shot a cold, contemptuous look at the opposing leader and folded her arms across her chest, making it clear she felt above them. As the first to defeat the Goblin King, he gains the opportunity to face the tower's next challenge and receives a chest as a reward. He was also one of the first 100 players to qualify, which rewarded him with an additional silver chest. Before stepping into the tower, the young man chooses to unlock the chest, eager for the chance to find valuable treasures inside. In the first chest, he discovers a pair of uncommon boots along with 10 shiny silver coins, feeling pleased with such a generous prize. During the second round, he receives 10 small experience potions along with 38 additional silver coins. The boots granted a 30% boost to movement speed, though only those who had reached level 5 could use them. The young man's eyes sparkled with excitement as he admired the boots, but disappointment settled in when he realized he wasn't experienced enough to wear them yet. He checked the rankings and found himself listed at 98th place, leaving him feeling let down. The main character comes to understand that influential and wealthy players can be found throughout the entire area, not just within his own territory. He quickly consumes an experience potion, hoping it will help him gain levels faster. A shimmering portal materialized before him, and with curiosity, he stepped through to discover what awaited in the dungeon on the first floor this season. He suddenly found himself standing at the gateway to the first floor of the Tower of God, fully prepared to face whatever trials awaited him. The young man is taken aback when he discovers that the dungeon for this round is the infamous Shadow Labyrinth. As one progresses through the tower, the dungeons become more diverse, and each higher floor presents a greater challenge than the last. He moves onto the glowing pathway, confidently tracing a route that is already familiar to him. Recalling the labyrinth's routine, the young man carefully imitates each motion to move forward. Fortunate to still remember the exit route, he proceeds along his journey without encountering any obstacles. Without warning, a gigantic clawed hand burst out of the earth before him, cutting off his path. A monstrous being, its claws razor-sharp and tongue unnaturally long, suddenly emerged with the intent to strike him. The main character realized the creature was actually a man feasting on a seagull, and began to ready himself for an imminent battle. The objective was to create a level 3 undead creature, possessing the innate trait of razor-sharp claws. The young man remains cautious, fully aware that their reputation for swift movements and powerful strikes makes them formidable opponents. He swiftly positions himself, ready to evade the incoming strike from the advancing creature. He swiftly evaded the monster's strike and launched a powerful blow, bringing the creature down in a single decisive move. Immediately afterward, a second creature lunges in his direction, its sharp claws poised to strike. The main character quickly overcomes the creature and moves forward on his path through the dungeon. His triumph rewarded him with 40 experience points, along with an extra 4 as a bonus, which was just enough to raise him to level 3. Drawing on the Demon King's vast experience, he eventually attains a higher stage of strength and mastery. He arrives at a split in the road, faced with the decision between a simple route and one that appears much more challenging. After considering the choices before him, the young man comes to understand that the red path will be challenging, while the blue path promises an easier journey. He immediately opts for the red path, confident that more difficult challenges offer greater prizes. He moves through a shadowy hallway, where the only light comes from blue flames flickering atop torches fixed to the walls. In another location, a woman observes that Mr. Jones appears to be succeeding in his endeavors. The guild president dismissed the importance of early achievements, insisting that only the ultimate reward truly counted. The assistant commended his achievements, assuring him that all preparations were complete and that he would soon earn the title of Rookie King. The president raised his voice, berating her and mocking her for believing that winning could be so simple. He clarifies that achieving the status of Rookie King requires immense dedication and personal sacrifice. The man expresses his hope that his will live up to expectations this season, wishing to avoid any disappointment. At the same time, skillfully takes down numerous monsters blocking his way, landing precise and powerful blows that quickly defeat each one. With every enemy he overcame, he gained valuable experience and new advantages, steadily increasing his strength. He neared level 4, noticing that the rewards within the tower were far more substantial than he had expected. Once the room was emptied, he observed as the monsters' bodies broke apart, transforming into glowing specks that slowly faded away. Without warning, the floor began to glow in a spectrum of colors, uncovering a series of fresh pathways waiting to be explored. A gray stone tablet materialized, leading him to uncover a hidden chamber where an unanticipated game awaited. He steps into a hidden chamber that rises from beneath the floor, bracing himself for whatever may await inside. As he steps inside, unexpected sights greet him, prompting him to brace himself for the difficulties that lie ahead. A large group of gulls with a taste for human flesh suddenly swarmed him, catching him off guard with their unexpected assault. The creatures moved forward, their pointed claws poised to shred the unwelcome visitor. Despite being encircled by a horde of monsters, the protagonist remains unfazed by the overwhelming odds. About 30 minutes passed before he managed to overcome every creature in his path, ultimately reaching level 4. The ground is littered with the defeated creatures, while the young man rejoices over his recent success. He is awarded an S-Battle rating, gains 1,000 experience points, and earns a single gold coin as a reward. Feeling confident in his well-rounded abilities, he prepares himself to face the dungeon's boss at last. He looked at the rankings, noticing that Joe remained at the top, with the boss still undefeated by anyone. A glowing circle of magical energy appeared beneath his feet, whisking him away to the next stage of the challenge. He exudes confidence as he announces his intention to update the boss' clear record for the whole group. As the heavy stone door slid aside, the entrance to the first floor's boss room came into view. The young man stepped into an expansive hall, where imposing gargoyle statues lined the walls and a grand throne stood at the far end. Perched atop its grand throne, a massive minotaur with luminous horns and piercing red eyes fixed an intimidating stare on him. Certain ghouls seemed to offer assistance, prompting the protagonist to welcome them warmly, as if reuniting with familiar companions. Growing increasingly restless, he demanded that they quit wasting time and start the fight, insisting that his day couldn't be spent waiting. He moved forward, skillfully avoiding the ghouls' strikes as he sprinted in the direction of the boss. The young man boldly challenges the Minotaur, urging the beast to rise from its throne and face him in battle. The creature's eyes lit up with a fierce red glow, as it itself to confront its opponent. The Minotaur stood as a formidable level 5 elite boss, possessing a vast pool of 5,000 health points and an array of powerful abilities. The main character immediately identifies it, noting inwardly that its demeanor is just as chilly and prideful as before. He sprang forward, striking at the boss with both his dagger and a plain sword he had found during his journey. The Minotaur effortlessly intercepted the blow with its massive hand, shattering the young man's sword as if it were nothing. The boss lifts its massive axe, getting ready to launch a fierce counterattack. A crimson glow surrounds the while it unleashes its power by forcefully striking the ground with its foot. 2 stone gargoyles perched atop the columns suddenly came to life, leaping down to support their master in the ongoing fight. The young man smiled, feeling a surge of excitement as the battle became more intense and demanding. The Minotaur surged ahead, leading the attack with powerful, pounding steps, as the gargoyles swiftly moved behind it. The young man swiftly evaded the incoming strike, then scrambled up onto the boss's massive frame, aiming a powerful blow at a vulnerable spot. Using the wind trace skill, he strikes the monster's neck from behind, delivering a powerful critical blow. The gargoyles closed in on him from every side, yet he slipped past their strikes, relying on his quick reflexes to avoid harm. The protagonist remains determined, silently acknowledging that their odds of victory against him are non-existent. He activated his ability once more, slicing through the gargoyle's wings as he struck the boss simultaneously. The Minotaur's temper flared as he swung a powerful fist toward the young man, but the youth reacted quickly and avoided the attack just in time. Without warning, a woman descends from above, enveloped in a shimmering, mystical energy that radiates power. Flames consumed the Minotaur as it itself to unleash a unique fire power. The creature launched a powerful bull-like charge, catching the protagonist off guard with its unexpected speed. The young man refers to his boss as a hothead in his thoughts, bracing himself to avoid the oncoming surge of blood. In an instant, he materializes next to the creature and questions whether it remembers who he is. He announced his intention to make it remember, and his dagger began to emit a vivid purple glow. The young man struck the boss hard on its side, dealing a powerful blow worth 1,000 damage, causing the creature to roar loudly in agony. The gargoyles attempted to ambush him from the rear, yet he expertly protected himself, moving with swift and skillful precision. He uses the weaker creatures on the battlefield to earn more experience and extra rewards. After gaining enough experience, he reached level 5 and earned additional points as a reward. Now that he had achieved the necessary level, he was at last able to put on his rare boots. He triggered the power of the boots, and a glowing blue light surrounded his feet, making him move faster. The Minotaur swung its heavy axe at the young man again, and again, yet each time he managed to slip out of harm's way, avoiding every attack with quick reflexes. Unable to land a single blow on its foe, the creature's anger boiled over, and it let out a deafening roar that echoed with pure frustration. The boss suddenly became enraged, its body glowing with a fierce red aura that signaled a dramatic surge in strength. The young man notices that the monster's power has increased, so he braces himself, ready to face a tougher battle. The Minotaur dashes with such incredible speed that it appears to split into several copies, quickly encircling the protagonist. The creature froze in shock as a young man suddenly emerged from behind it, questioning whether it had been searching for him. As the berserk state faded away, the boss was left exposed and open to retaliation. Suddenly emerges above the Minotaur, making his presence clear as he prepares to deliver the finishing attack. He delivered a sharp, forceful blow to the boss's head, driving his radiant dagger deep into its target. After the attack, the Minotaur begins to bleed, causing its health to steadily decrease over time. The young man declared the end of the battle, and with a swift and merciless motion, plunged his dagger deep into the monster's chest. With a powerful strike dealing 3,000 damage, he brings the battle to a decisive end. The boss expelled a gush of liquid from its mouth, its eyes growing dull as it collapsed in defeat onto the ground. The tiny figure lost its balance and fell onto its back, landing on the floor with a muffled sound. Receives a congratulatory message for defeating the boss before anyone else, and he is awarded multiple prizes in recognition of his achievement. He surpasses the previous time record, collecting even more gold coins and gaining additional experience points as a reward. The young man felt content with how he had spent his time, believing that having the right resources and gaining experience mattered more than anything else. In another part of the world, a wealthy gamer unleashed an advanced weapon, wiping out multiple monsters in a single attack. He boasts about the strength of his weapon, describing it as both frighteningly powerful and extremely costly. Wearing a mischievous grin, he readies himself to unleash an attack on those who oppose him. Without warning, he learned that had shattered the record, and anger surged through him. The latest rankings for the season revealed claiming the top spot, with the rest of the competitors trailing behind. The wealthy young man stared in disbelief at the impressive time someone had achieved, unable to accept it. He quickly pointed a finger at, insisting that cheating must be involved. Throughout the city, conversations buzzed about the latest achievement, and people marveled at the newcomer's remarkable strength. The onlookers questioned among themselves about the origins of this formidable player, speculating whether he was a member of an influential clan. The guild president stared in amazement at the time displayed, clearly impressed by such an outstanding performance. Despite the situation, his frustration flared up as he insisted that a loss remained a loss, regardless of what had happened. The man instructs his team to look into the identity of the individual who surpassed the previous record, and to gather all available information about this person. Reached out to Sue with a message, asking if he would like to become part of her family. The girl with pink hair realized she had not fully recognized just how strong and talented the young man truly was. A gleaming golden treasure chest materialized, serving as a reward for defeating the season's very first boss. As the chest slowly creaked open, a brilliant light poured out, illuminating the hidden treasures nestled inside. The young man's eyes widened in astonishment when he discovered that the chest held an item of flawless quality. Within the box lay a coveted golden hoe, renowned for its legendary status and immense power. Feeling content with the reward he received, he soon discovered an experience orb as well. He acted quickly, activating the orb and immediately gaining 60,000 experience points. After receiving the experience bonus, he advanced to level 6 and earned 2 additional attribute points. He allocates the points, and then determines that another round of equipment upgrades is necessary. The young man reaches out and taps the upgrade button, determined to enhance his items and boost their power. He enhanced his boots, prompting the system to notify him about the fee required to either accelerate or bypass the waiting period. He decides on the second option to complete the process, unconcerned about the cost. The upgrade requires 3280 silver, resulting in an improvement to his attributes. Feeling a surge of excitement from the improved stats, he chooses to enhance the item once again. With several additional enhancements, the boot's strength increases significantly, and its features become even better. Now that he had reached level 6 and acquired new gear, he sensed a noticeable increase in his strength and readiness. His inventory now boasted a supreme artifact, a rare sword, rare boots, and a set of common armor. He is handed a ticket that grants him access to the upcoming level of the Tower of God. Holding the ticket tightly, he walked toward the portal, bracing himself for what awaited him next. The main character decided to challenge themselves by aiming to complete the first 10 floors within a single day. He suddenly found himself in the vast desert, where the system hymned that the test had already begun. A 60-second timer started ticking down, signaling that the first group of monsters would soon appear. The young man discovers that he must endure 10 successive waves of monsters, but he feels that the process is moving far too slowly for his liking. Without warning, a crimson portal appeared in the sand, and a strange creature started to rise from its depths. A sawtooth lizard of level 3 emerged, displaying its skills in delivering a venomous bite and unleashing poisonous attacks. A group of lizards emerged, and the protagonist grew frustrated, feeling that their sluggish pace was preventing him from moving forward. He chooses to act first, moving quickly to confront the monsters before they can scatter. He swiftly eliminated every lizard in a flash, his dagger moving with flawless accuracy and skill. In under 2 minutes, he defeats the initial group of opponents and gets ready as the timer begins for the next round. The young man triggered the special feature in his boots, allowing him to move more quickly and complete the waves in less time. As soon as the equipment was triggered, he experienced a dramatic surge in how quickly he could move. He vows to surpass every achievement from his previous existences by using his newfound speed. He breezes through the second and third waves just as effortlessly, while the countdown keeps ticking without any pauses. Using his remarkable swiftness and strength, he quickly overpowers waves 4, 5, and 6 one after another. Once the 10th wave ends, he arrives at the boss room where a werewolf awaits his arrival. He unleashed his steel slash skill with incredible force, striking down the boss and ending the battle in a single decisive move. A notification appeared, praising his victory over the boss and granting him access to the 3rd floor with a special ticket. The Desert Fang stood as a formidable level 6 elite boss, boasting a massive 60,000 health points and wielding two unique abilities. His triumph was recognized with an S-Battle rating, and he received another golden chest as a prize for his success. With nervous anticipation, he moves closer to the chest, eager to discover which precious prize awaits him this time. He receives a flawless purple-gold armor as a reward, a remarkable testament to his hard work. The armor provided strong protection against both physical and magical attacks, and it also restored 5 points of health every second. The system presented a choice between boosting the item's attributes or raising its overall level. The young man chooses to upgrade the armor's level before anything else, making sure he doesn't surpass the usage limit. The initial enhancement required 1 gold coin, and he managed to improve the armor to level 1. He feels surprised by how expensive the upgrade is, yet he is pleased with how the item turns out in the end. Now that the armor is on, a surge of strength and assurance fills him as he prepares to face what lies ahead. The young man activated another orb, which granted him 50,000 experience points and advanced him to level 7. Now equipped with upgraded stats and new gear, he believes he is prepared to take on the challenges of the 3rd floor. He stepped through the portal at Layman's, surprised at how fast he had already spent more than 100 gold coins. He reached the entrance of the Silk Cave, bracing himself for the perilous ordeal that awaited him inside. A group of creatures, resembling rats but with long, spindly spider legs, aggressively in his direction, preparing to launch an attack. Wearing a confident grin, he rushed toward the monsters, playfully thinking of them as adorable. In another location, the wealthy gamer unleashes his cannon, wiping out multiple foes in a single blast. After a grueling and intense struggle, he managed to overcome the Minotaur, emerging victorious from the fierce confrontation with the formidable boss. He finished in 2 hours and 25 minutes, which was considered a slow result. As a reward, he receives a silver chest and a rare, filling him with a deep sense of satisfaction. He proudly boasts about his accomplishment, daring others to prove they are stronger or more talented than he is. Without warning, he learns through a global message that has successfully conquered the tower's 2nd floor. The wealthy young man stared in disbelief, astonished that he had accomplished the task in under 30 minutes. The wealthy player burns with embarrassment, puzzled over the identity of this mysterious, who has managed to outdo him. At the same time, the main character demonstrates genuine swift growth by overcoming multiple creatures. On the 3rd floor, he managed to break the previous record by finishing in just 25 minutes. On the 4th floor, he encounters fire lizards amid the blistering heat of a desert, pressing forward without hesitation. He set a new record by finishing in just 22 minutes, clearly proving he was ahead of the rest. On the building's 5th floor, he confronts an enormous dragon lurking in the foggy marsh, showing no sign of fear. The young hero swiftly overpowers the aquatic creature, defeating it with little effort. He astonishes the crowd by finishing in just 19 minutes, breaking his own record once again. Within the city, astonishment spread among the players when they discovered that he had managed to complete 3 entire floors in just a single hour. There were whispers among the crowd, with some suggesting that the floors this season might not be as challenging as they usually were. Inside a strategy meeting room, several individuals gathered to analyze and talk about the latest happenings within the tower. Observed from a distance, finding his mysterious nature intriguing. C explained that his background remained unknown, and his performance in combat training had always been unremarkable. Some wondered if he had discovered something extraordinary within the tower that could account for his abrupt surge in strength. One member of the group eyed the young man's weapon with envy, which sparked a heated argument between them. Who leads the group forcefully brings his hand down on the table, demanding that the other 2 members settle down at once. He concludes that if he fails to obtain a high-grade crystal, they will attempt to purchase his weapon instead. Should he obtain a rare crystal, the strategy group would extend an invitation for him to participate in their examination. The captain stood firm in his choice, reasoning that if the new recruit truly was the rookie king, then he deserved to be developed and supported. Once finalized the decision, he brought the meeting to a close, prompting everyone to get ready to put their plans into motion. cautioned him, suggesting that he should focus on his own situation, because there was a chance he could lose his place on the team. Within the shadowy confines of a cave, the main character pushes forward, gliding through the enigmatic depths of the water to press on with their journey. He examined his own stats and discovered that fortune favored him, granting him 8 points each time he advanced a level. Despite the improvements, he finds himself running out of money much faster than he expected. He figures that finishing the 10th floor will earn him 500 gold coins, with an extra 200 coming from the new title. Feeling desperate, he searches his mind for other possible sources of money to pay for his upgrades. All at once, a thought strikes him. There is someone he knows who might be able to help him with his money troubles. He saw a message, which included both an apology and the promise of $1 million contract. A sly grin formed on his lips, as he understood that the moment had arrived to strike a deal and earn some cash. He responds to the message, proposing to sell class transfer crystals at a price open to negotiation. The girl's eyes widened in shock when she realized that his offer was much less than what the item usually sold for. She decided to purchase every crystal, and together they planned to complete the exchange as soon as he exited the tower. The young man observes that those with wealth possess significant control and sway within the game. Now that the agreement was finalized, he shifted his attention back to gaining experience and getting ready to face the challenges of the upcoming floor. He steps through the portal leading to the 6th floor, bracing himself for the perilous trial that awaits him. Dragons soared high above the unfamiliar land, their presence hinting at the tough obstacles that awaited. He reached the wild, and soon noticed that the area's leader did not always appear in the same place. He retrieves a high-grade crossbow he had set aside for battles that require distance. The main issue was that he lacked arrows for the weapon, which meant he had to proceed with caution. Realizing that every moment counts, he chooses to save his arrows and begins to investigate his surroundings. Remaining cautious, he carefully listened and watched for any unusual noises or movements surrounding him in the forest. Without warning, a group of black panthers with glowing red eyes closed in around him, their bodies tense as they prepared to strike. The young man resolved to try out his recently acquired weapon, raising his crossbow and taking careful aim at the creatures that moved closer. The panthers sprang forward, baring their razor-sharp teeth, yet he stood ready, anticipating their attack. The agile young man skillfully evaded incoming strikes while getting ready to launch his own counterattacks. Despite being outnumbered, he keeps his attention on the fight and maintains his composure. He skillfully aimed his powerful crossbow, releasing bolts that struck multiple panthers at once. He overcame every creature in his path and felt pleased with how well his new weapon worked. The young man gathered his arrows, already thinking about how he would sell them too in the near future. He recalls that the boss heads north, staying close to the river's edge and tracing its path. The main character waded through the flowing river, guided by the noise of rushing water as he searched for his intended target. The rush of the water reaches his ears, confirming to him that he has arrived at the perfect spot for the hunt. The young man approached the waterfall, and there he discovered exactly what he had been searching for. A group of fish-like warriors with webbed limbs and tridents fixed their intense gazes on him, poised to attack at any moment. The sea creatures looked fierce and gave off an aura that suggested they would be tough opponents. The fishmen possessed a rank of 9, boasting 400 health points and wielding 2 distinct combat skills. The young man decided it was time to begin his tasks and himself to confront the unfamiliar creatures ahead. The fishmen launched their harpoons toward him, but he stood prepared to defend himself. A B-rank class transfer crystal and several coins fell to the ground, as one of the monsters was defeated. The main character reached down to collect the crystal, feeling pleased, because he had anticipated that the chances of finding one in that spot were quite good. He reached out too, presenting her with the opportunity to purchase the warrior crystal. She presents him with a choice between 100 gold coins or a staggering 10 million in cash, making it the most generous offer he has encountered so far. The young man requested an additional $100,000 in cash, and she agreed to his terms instantly, showing no sign of doubt. He kept defeating monsters one after another, feeling satisfied with how quickly he was gaining experience. Without warning, a streak of purple darted through the sky, prompting him to remain vigilant and track its swift motion. He identifies the noise and understands that the region's boss is coming to challenge him. A massive fish-like demon rose from the depths, clutching a gleaming golden trident tightly in its grasp. The creature stood as a formidable level 10 elite boss, boasting a massive health pool of 80,000 and wielding 3 distinct abilities. The protagonist noticed the unusual features of the creature and got ready to engage in battle. He announces his intention to spar with the boss and wades through the water, gripping his crossbow. The fish demon lunged forward, thrusting its trident with fierce intent, but the young man moved swiftly, evading each strike with ease. The creature bares its rows of pointed teeth, then lunges aggressively toward its foe. Using the flash step technique, he swiftly moved to the side, narrowly dodging the lethal strike. He quickly fired multiple bolts from his crossbow, striking the monster 3 times in vital spots and dealing significant damage. The boss hurled its trident toward the young man, but he reacted swiftly, evading the weapon just before it could strike him. The young man leapt onto the weapon, steadying himself as he pointed his crossbow straight at his foe, preparing to deliver the decisive strike. He pointed out the monster's failure to get any smarter, remarking that it remained just as foolish as always. He aimed carefully and struck the fish demon right on the head, taking it down in a single move. The arrows struck the creature directly in the head, inflicting a devastating blow that totaled 3,000 critical damage. After being overcome, the monster collapsed into the water, releasing a glowing blue ore that shimmered as it emerged from its body. Following the triumph, was granted multiple prizes, such as a golden chest and the prestigious title of Hunter. He noted that this floor had taken more time to clear, yet felt the delay was justified by the discovery of 5 additional treasure chests. He opens the chests and finds healing potions, experience potions, coins of gold and silver, and a newly acquired piece of equipment. The young man grumbled about the prizes, yet he considered the fish demon bracers to be a fair offer. He used 10 silver coins to enhance the item, improving its defense and granting it resistance to water. Now equipped with new gear, he senses a surge of strength and a boost in confidence as he prepares to face the trials ahead. He gets ready to step through the portal, aiming for the 7th floor of the Tower of God. The young man set his mind on conquering the first 10 floors within 20 hours, believing this achievement would guarantee his claim to the title. A system message alerts him to the arrival of the top-ranked female player. Inside the tavern, the players exchanged whispers about the arrival of the new player, speculating about her rumored ties to the influential family. Many people doubted her ability to succeed, since had already advanced to the 7th floor. They observed that several other skilled participants are also getting ready for the upcoming contest. Noticing his slip to 3rd place on the wealthy player grows irritated by the turn of events. He vowed to seek vengeance on the 5th floor, believing that having a brief advantage held no real significance. The 7th floor appeared as a shadowy fortress, illuminated by the eerie glow of a crimson moon and brimming with peril at every turn. The protagonist stood before a towering skeleton knight, its massive sword radiating an intimidating strength. He recalls the creature's vulnerable spot and strikes its back with a well-aimed, powerful blow. In another part of the world, a girl with bright red hair battled fearsome creatures beneath the blazing desert sun. She resolved not to let anyone defeat her and pushed forward, giving everything she had in the ongoing battle. After a long climb, the wealthy player arrived at the 5th floor, where he discovered a precious item that would help him advance to the next stage. He acquires a powerful SS glass crystal, transforming into a top-tier marksman alongside his trusted weapon. On the 8th floor, encountered skeletons lurking in a shadowy abyss and swiftly overcame them without difficulty. He defeats the monsters one by one, landing powerful blows while a self-assured grin plays across his face. The young man skillfully pressed on with the battle, causing his opponent's bones to clatter and spread out over the ground. He stands before the dungeon's final adversary, a menacing shadow demon whose eyes emit an eerie glow and whose claws gleam with razor-sharp menace. The creature unleashed a burst of blue fire, yet the protagonist remained unfazed by the display of strength. The young man recalled how the trick had failed in the past and insisted it would not succeed this time either, then swiftly launched a counterattack. With one last powerful strike, he overcomes the boss, watching as it transforms into shimmering golden light before vanishing from sight. A string of congratulatory messages praised Sube for successfully conquering the 10th floor and being awarded the title of Rookie King. At last, he felt a deep sense of joy as he achieved the title that had eluded him in his previous life. He looked at the 5 treasure chests before him, hoping they would contain useful items to aid him on his journey. He lifted the lid of the first chest and discovered a rare sword inside, but upon examining its stats, he realized they were only average. The young man stumbled upon an extraordinary treasure map, and the thrill of his discovery filled him with excitement. Inside the remaining chests, he discovers an energy shield along with a luminous stone to upgrade his gear. He relied on to conceal his gear and steer clear of unwanted attention. He acquires a pair of flawless Great Fire Dragon gloves, featuring attributes that are nearly legendary. Wearing the gloves, he experiences a surge of strength and is amazed by how powerful the item is. He threw a punch into the air using the new equipment, causing a surge of energy to burst forth. With his new gear and having reached level 10, he believed he could handle whatever obstacles awaited him. The young man examined his own abilities, considering ways to improve himself. He decided to enhance his watch so he could grow even more powerful. He chooses to unlock the last 30 silver chests, hoping to collect more coins and useful items. He collects different gear, experience potions, and gold coins from the treasure chests. He learns through an announcement that he has earned the Rookie King title from a randomly obtained SSS-ranked crystal. In the city, the players could hardly believe their eyes when news spread that an SSS crystal had surfaced much sooner than anyone had expected. The group erupted in joy, thrilled that the nation had finally gained a new top-tier player. Inside the meeting room, members of the strategy team reviewed footage from previous fights. Captain instructed his team to quickly collect every detail they could find about the young men. Paling requested the terms needed to bring the young man onto their team, and the captain instructed her to present him with the most attractive offer possible. He requested that she include him on the primary team, catching the young woman off guard with his unexpected choice. The captain refuses to assign him to a team made up of less skilled players. He insists that such remarkable ability should not go unrecognized and deserves careful development. The rest of the group nodded in agreement, certain that having an SSS-ranked player would boost their team's standing. The woman agreed to take on the mission, assuring the captain that she would complete his orders without fail. Inside the bustling tavern, the players gathered together, exchanging thoughts about and expressing curiosity about his decision to remain in his current class instead of choosing a new one. Without warning, the door to the tavern swung open, and a mysterious stranger stepped inside, immediately drawing the gaze of everyone present. 2 men rose to their feet and unsheathed their swords, preparing to confront the unexpected visitor. The young man, carrying a sack slung over his shoulder, stepped into the tavern, his lips curled in an enigmatic smile. The other customers glanced at him with concern, questioning his sanity, since the bar owner was known for having no patience for any kind of disturbance. The woman noticed who he was and remarked on how quickly and accurately he had fulfilled her request. He took a seat at the counter, requesting a unique beverage that only she possessed the skill to prepare. The patrons of the tavern were taken aback by the fact that the proprietor remained calm despite the man's behavior. She complimented the quality of his crops, while the young man boasted confidently about his ability to achieve his desires. The woman handed him the drink and informed him that the price was 1 gold coin, making it clear that there would be no discount. He finishes the drink in a single gulp, and as a result, all of his attributes are boosted by 1 point for good. The young man stretched his limbs and requested a room located on the 2nd floor, hoping to find a place where he could relax for a while. Without warning, arrived at the tavern with her team searching for him. She experiences a sense of relief, grateful that she before the situation could escalate into a more serious argument. Called out to her, urging her to inspect the items he had brought for their trade. The young woman stares in amazement at the sheer number of things he has collected in so little time. Inside the secluded chamber, he tipped the sack over, causing a collection of vibrant crystals in various colors to spill out and catch the light. She and her friends marvel at the vast number and unusual variety of the treasures before them. He displayed a collection of ADF rank crystals, which included 50 of E rank, 30 of D rank, 20 of C rank, and 5 of B rank. The protagonist produced a red crystal, holding it out as he gauged her interest in the mysterious object. The guards stared in disbelief as an S-class crystal appeared before their eyes. He extended the crystal toward the girl, inviting her to propose a price for the uncommon treasure. The information about the item indicated that it was a transfer crystal, designed specifically for those belonging to the demonic scholar class. The young woman eagerly accepts the crystal, excitement shining in her eyes, as she realizes this is her long-awaited opportunity to obtain an S-class. She inquired about the cost, her resolve clear as she was willing to do whatever it took to claim the item for herself. He requests that 10% of the market value be paid to him in cash, while insisting that the remainder be given in gold coins. Accepted the terms, confident that gathering the necessary supplies for him would be a simple task. He passed the shopping list to a nearby guard, and the young woman instructed him to leave right away. The young man sprawls across the sofa, hoping to relax for a moment as he waits for the negotiation to start. She announces that the moment has come to discuss the value of the S-class crystal he presented. The girl with pink hair presented an offer of $200 million in cash to obtain the rare item. The protagonist stared in disbelief, unable to comprehend that the crystal possessed such immense value. She mentions that the cost is reasonable, and includes a mansion located in the heart of the city as an extra incentive. The guards expressed shock because ordinary citizens were not allowed to make purchases in that city. The young man came to the conclusion that the mansion's value far exceeded $200 million. The group grew increasingly anxious as his figure drew nearer, each person holding their breath in anticipation of his ultimate decision. He agreed to the arrangement, and inquired whether it would be possible to complete the payment within a week without any issues. The young woman nodded her approval and instructed them to finalize the contract right away so the transaction could be completed. The young man placed his signature on the document, finalizing the agreement. Together, they marked the moment with a formal handshake, solidifying their deal. With the contract officially completed, both individuals exchanged words of congratulations, celebrating the beginning of their successful collaboration. Holding the crystal tightly, she and her guards rejoiced together over gaining such a precious treasure. She extended an invitation for him to become part of the group, yet he politely declined, explaining that he was not ready to switch classes at that time. The protagonist responds by suggesting they postpone the conversation, offering a farewell for the time being. The girl questioned internally why he seemed unconcerned about switching his class and felt anxious that someone might steal from him. He reassures her, explaining that he already has ideas about what he wants to do with his life. The patrons inside the tavern remarked among themselves that it was unusual to witness the family's young lady displaying such composure. The patrons inside the tavern whisper among themselves, exchanging theories about who the young man might be and questioning whether he could truly be Sube. The owner of the tavern expressed frustration, blaming him for creating a major issue that disrupted her ability to run her business. Her silhouette stretches across the room, falling over the young man as he rests quietly in his bed. She observes him as he sleeps, thinking to herself that he should savor his rest now, since she plans to wake him soon. She roused him abruptly from his deep slumber by delivering a sharp kick to his leg, showing no sign of tenderness. He jolted awake, surprised to find her in his room, and wondered aloud about her unexpected visit. The woman issued a stern warning, making it clear that if he didn't take care of the problems downstairs, she would handle him personally. The protagonist proudly revealed a heap of gold coins he had collected during his journeys. He tossed the coins toward her, wondering if the amount would be sufficient to fix the issue. The elf's face lights up with joy upon seeing the money, feeling certain that the amount will easily cover all expenses. The young man cautioned her to take it easy, while she calmly explained that she wasn't someone who resorted to violence. He mentioned that he needed to discuss some business with her, and gestured for her to come closer so they could talk. The woman showed curiosity, wondering aloud whether he possessed additional unique drink recipes available for purchase. He pulled out an SS crystal, leaving her stunned that he had acquired something so rare. The young man expressed his desire to begin the god's trial as he grasped the crystal, which began to shine with an intense light. She reacts with shock, wondering aloud how he could possibly be aware of the hidden trial set by the gods. He informs them that completing the trial will grant a rare and precious hidden class crystal as the sole reward. The tavern owner cautioned him, making it clear that he had a single opportunity, and if he didn't succeed, there would be no second attempts. The protagonist recalls experiencing more than 100 failures in his previous life, yet this only strengthens his resolve. She gazed at him with a serious expression, and he requested that she organize the trial at the earliest opportunity. The elf decided to offer her assistance, yet made it clear she would not interfere if he chose to face such a dangerous risk on his own. As the activation process started, the crystal he held began to shine with a brilliant, powerful light. The woman shattered the crystal in her grasp, signaling that the trial was ready to begin. A glowing magic circle appeared on the floor, and the system prompted him to decide whether he wanted to begin the trial. She cautions him that they can still change their minds, yet he dismisses her concern and teases her for being overly sensitive. Clearly irritated, she forcefully shoved him through the portal, making it clear she wanted him gone for daring to insult her. He was pulled into the portal, grumbling about her repeating the same tactic once more. The elf furrowed their brow in puzzlement, trying to understand why the young man's face suddenly looked so recognizable. He found himself surrounded by a nightmarish landscape, where molten rivers snaked through the ground and fiery blazes lit up the horizon. The protagonist recognized the surroundings, sensing a strong familiarity, and realized he had returned to the site of the trial. He receives a notification stating that all his gear is locked away, and his enhancements are stripped. He made his way down a stone walkway, the ground beside him bubbling with molten lava where skulls drifted eerily in the fiery liquid. The young man notices the fallen figures around him, and understands that these are the remains of warriors who did not succeed in passing the test previously. He realizes his actions are inconsistent, yet he acknowledges that his objective aligns with theirs. The young man accessed his status screen and noticed that both his equipment and bonuses were completely empty. Fortunately, the trial system had not placed any restrictions on the golden hoe he received. A fresh alert suddenly popped up, letting him know that a large group of demons was approaching. As the timer started ticking down, he himself to face the initial group of opponents. He clings tightly to his hope, preparing himself for the upcoming fight. The young man feels assured because his abilities now surpass what they were in his previous life. As the countdown reached 0, crimson portals appeared, unleashing the waiting creatures. From the portals stepped monstrous beings, their claws razor-sharp and their eyes glowing a menacing red. The demons stood out as elite fighters, each reaching level 10 and possessing a pair of unique skills for battle. He observes the growing number of monsters and realizes he must act immediately. Holding his weapon tightly, he rushed ahead, moving swiftly as he prepared to confront the swarm of opponents. The young man struck one of the enormous spiders with a powerful blow, inflicting 500 points of damage. He remained concentrated on the fight, pushing himself to give everything he had, fueled by unwavering resolve. With a powerful strike, he brings down the creature, his well-aimed attack inflicting 2,000 points of damage. The system rewarded him with a single point for his win, and motivated him to continue battling. The main character grumbled about the system remaining unchanged, noting how it operated just as it always had. He quickly gets ready to strike as the next cluster of spiders moves closer. The young man skillfully slashed through the sticky webs that the monsters hurled at him, using his weapon to fend off their attempts to ensnare him. He pressed on with expert skill, shattering the webs with swift, forceful blows. He swings his weapon in a wide arc, taking down 3 spiders at the same time with one powerful strike.